Okay, folks, we are back. We are at objective 3, and we are looking at objectives. We are looking at identifying the methods of identifying your risk when we're in the endangered area, and then we're going to look at what are the outcomes, what's going to happen with our product. So it's very important that we figure a way to manage our information, because there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of stuff we need, and the easiest way to do this is to break it down into a sector using our incident command system. And we set up some people that are called research, and they work out of the planning sector. Their job is to put together, get all this information, try to make some sense about it, and then the bottom line is they're going to put this information into an incident action plan. And they're trying to figure out, what do I do right now? What do we need to do right now, in the next hour, and in the next 8 hours? Now, it says here that disposal and cleanup is not needed in the initial stages, but it's certainly going to be needed somewhere down the road. So we're going to evaluate our risks now. We've gathered our information. We have all this data in front of us, and we're going to use a systems approach to this. And the system approach is right here, and you may see this in your worksheet. We want to know what's involved, what's the container it's in or not in right now. What's the integrity of the container? Is there fire hitting it? Is it broken? Did it flip over 6 times? It's got a big crack in it. And what is the location? Where are we? Are we out on I-80, on the I-10 with nothing around, or are we in the center of Tucson proper? And with that in mind, and what do we have for resources? Are we out in Arivaca where we have limited resources or picture rocks that we need to start calling for some people, or are we in downtown Tucson? Would you excuse me for a moment? I have to let the cat in. Yeah. Okay, with that in mind, we need to go out now and develop our IAP, Incident Action Plan, and we're hoping for favorable income. Okay, these are just some of the sequence events we talk about. One of the things we look for are direct outcomes, are typically, do we have any fatalities? We want to limit, obviously we want to limit fatalities, we want to limit injuries, and the bottom line is we want to limit property and environmental damage. And we also need to look at, are we having a systems disruption? A lot of times in a terror attack, the attacker may want to go after our, what is called critical infrastructure. I like this one, damaged reputations. Certainly this was one of the issues that indirect outcome of the Avon Valley Fire District from their incident on the interstate. They were, their reputation was damaged considerably, if not fiscally. All right, so we're going to look at, whoops, sorry about that. We're going to figure out, are we going to intervene, go in and see if we can stop the harm, or are we going to let this thing go because we just don't have the resources, the expertise, and the ability to do this. Some of the catastrophic events that have occurred in the last couple of years, the West Texas plant explosion was certainly one where non-intervention would have been better than intervention. There's a model out there called the General Hazardous Materials Behavior Model, the GHBMO, whatever that is. It's a tool for determining and predicting the behavior of a container. So now we're looking at a container out there, and these are the things we look at. We look at what can happen with these six events. That's just a thing to find. 3 types of stress that occur: thermal, if there's fire on it, we're going to heat up container, similar to a pot on your stove. Mechanical, we could have an explosion, or the container could crash and have a hole in it. Think of a tank car or a tractor trailer doing a rollover on the interstate. Chemical will mix with another chemical and start putting some stress on the container or the vessel. Less likely is radiation and etiological. So we want to make sure we know what the amount of product is and what's the pressure holding it in. Remember, go back to your terms, vapor pressure. What kind of pressure is exerting on the inside of that container? And what happens if we put a hole in the container? Different types of behaviors of a container. These are different terms you can find in your book. It can disintegrate, runaway cracking. The attachments. This means the valves that you use to offload it might fail. Let's say we roll this thing on the interstate and it snaps off the valve that holds everything back. Now we got a big problem. Punctures and tears. 4 types of release based on how they do it, from bad to easy, from bad to good. Detonation is when this thing has a giant release. Violent rupture, rapid relief, and spills and leaks. Depending on the pressure of the tank, you might see one of these occur. So then you got to look at yourself, you know, what's coming at me, what form is it in, is it a gas liquid, what's making it move, you know, is this thing under pressure in the tank, where's it going, if it's gasoline or a liquid, is it heavier than water, lighter than water, is it going downhill, and what problem would it create? And we can use Cameo to do that. We can create that on Cameo. What harm is this release going to cause? Is it going to burn us, make us sick, radiate us, and all the way down the line? So remember these. What are they? 7. Remember these 7 terms, because we can put our harm into one of these categories. And this is going to base some of our planning on that. Another thing that's going to affect us is the size and dimension and what exposures there are. And what concentration is the bad stuff. Okay, that's the end of objective. I'm going to stop the video and we will continue on with objective 4.